Hello ARMY! Welcome back to our channel. If you're a BTS fan, you know that the journey to a comeback is never easy. And today, we're going to talk about a moment that made many ARMYs tear up. This is about how Jimin saved RM from his lowest point during choreography practice for the BTS 2026 comeback. Before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss the latest BTS updates. Okay, let's get into it. So here's the story, ARMY. That night, the practice room on the third floor of the hybe building felt so quiet. Imagine, it was almost 11 at night, but there were still two figures who didn't want to go home. Who else but RM and Jimin? The two of them were still wrestling with the comeback choreography, which is said to be the most difficult choreography in BTS history. Now, what makes it sad is that night RM almost gave up, guys. Yes, our leader, who is usually strong and always the one encouraging other members, that night he was at a point where he almost said, "I can't do this anymore." You know what, ARMY? RM had been practicing the same move for almost 5 hours non-stop. 5 hours, ARMY. Just imagine how exhausted he must have been. Sweat was pouring down his forehead. His shirt was so soaked that the color changed. But what made it frustrating wasn't the tiredness, but because there was one move that he still couldn't master. This was a super complicated transition move that required precise coordination between feet, hands, and body rotation in a matter of seconds. Every time he tried, something would go wrong. Sometimes the timing was off, sometimes the hand position wasn't right, or his balance would wobble. What made this situation even heavier was the high expectations. We all know the 2026 comeback is BTS's first comeback after a long hiatus. ARMYs around the world are waiting with tremendous enthusiasm. International media is watching their every move. And RM, as the leader, felt he had to be perfect. He had to be able to do everything the other members could do. He felt he couldn't be the weakest one. That pressure was really heavy, guys, and that night, that pressure almost broke him. Now, Jimin, who had actually mastered that move since the afternoon, he didn't just go home. He chose to stay, sitting in the corner of the room drinking water, watching RM with full attention. Jimin didn't talk much, but his eyes never left RM. He knew when to give advice and when to stay quiet. Because he had also been in RM's position before, had felt stuck on one move that seemed impossible to master. As BTS's main dancer, Jimin understood that struggle all too well. Then suddenly, RM stopped the music. His sweat-soaked hand roughly wiped his face. He walked to his water bottle, gulping it down almost completely in one go. Then he sat on the floor, back leaning against the wall, head tilted back staring at the ceiling. And guys, the expression on RM's face was truly frustrated. Can you imagine a leader as strong as RM, who always looks confident, suddenly looking so tired and almost desperate? And what made many ARMYs cry was the words that came out of RM's mouth. He said, "Maybe I'm just not a dancer." ARMY, this wasn't the first time RM said something like that, but that night was different. There was a tone of desperation that you don't usually hear from that always strong leader figure. He continued, "How many times have I tried? Dozens of times? Hundreds of times? But it's still not perfect. You all can do it easily, but I." His sentence hung there, but we all knew what he was feeling. Now this is it, ARMY, the moment that makes us all proud to be BTS fans. Jimin didn't immediately respond or give cliché advice like, "You can do it," or "Don't give up." He knew RM didn't need empty words. What RM needed was a real solution and genuine support. So Jimin stood up from where he was sitting, walked slowly towards RM, and sat next to him. Not too close, but close enough to show, "Hey, I'm here." Then Jimin said something that made RM go silent. He said, "Hyung, do you remember 2013? When we first practiced the choreography for Boy in Love?" RM turned, a bit confused why Jimin was suddenly talking about the past. Jimin continued, "I remember you needed more time than the others to master the opening move. But you know what impressed me? You never stopped trying. Even when we all went home, you were still here. And on stage, no one noticed that you had struggled with that move. Because in the end, you did it perfectly." ARMY, Do you understand how powerful Jimin's words were? He didn't just give encouragement, he reminded RM of who he really is. He reminded RM of his never-give-up character, of the determination that has been his greatest strength all along. And most importantly, Jimin reminded RM that struggle is part of the process, not a sign of failure. But Jimin didn't stop there, guys. He stood up and extended his hand towards RM. And he said, "Come on, let's try again. But this time, we'll do it together. Slowly. No need for music first. Let's break down the movements one by one." Now, this is what makes the difference. Jimin didn't just motivate, he immediately took action. He was ready to jump in with RM, willing to get tired again, willing to stay up late again, all to help his leader. The two of them then stood facing each other in the middle of the room. Jimin positioned himself right next to RM, facing the same direction so RM could see his movements clearly in the mirror. And guys, the way Jimin taught RM was really detailed and incredibly patient. He started from the basics. Look, this move starts with the right foot first. One step to the side, but with the heel slightly raised. Jimin demonstrated very slowly, almost like slow motion. RM followed carefully. Then Jimin continued, then your weight shifts to the left foot, but don't put it all at once. Let your right foot still touch the floor for balance. They did that movement together, very slowly, repeating it several times until RM felt the rhythm. What's amazing was Jimin's patience. He never looked bored even though he had to repeat the same movement dozens of times. He gave specific corrections but never sounded critical. Try the turn a bit faster, or your left hand is too high, lower it a bit, or good. That's it, the timing is perfect. And ARMY, this is the most important part. Every time RM did it correctly, Jimin would give praise or a pat on the shoulder. This positive reinforcement is super important, guys, because when someone is down, they need confirmation that they're making progress, no matter how small. Jimin understood this psychology perfectly, and he applied it flawlessly. What's interesting is the insight that Jimin provided. He said, "Now, here's the difficult part. When you pivot with your left foot, your right hand needs to already be in this position before your foot completes the turn. That's what makes the timing precise. Most people think feet first then hands, but actually they should be simultaneous." This was an insight that even their choreographer didn't explain that afternoon. Jimin, with years of experience as the main dancer, had a deeper understanding of every detail of movement. They practiced that part over and over. And slowly but surely, guys, we could see the change in RM. His body started remembering the right muscle memory. Movements that were awkward began to feel natural. The coordination between his hands and feet started to sync. What used to require thinking about every detail now started to flow naturally. And Jimin, seeing that change, he smiled widely. "Now, you've got the feel of it. Let's try it with music slowly first." Jimin turned on the music with a slowed tempo. They did the movement together, and guys, RM succeeded. No mistakes. They tried again, and succeeded again. After 5 times in a row without error, Jimin increased the music tempo to normal speed. RM took a deep breath, gathering his focus. The music started, and his body moved following the rhythm. And when it got to the difficult part, without realizing it, his feet stepped precisely. His hands moved at the precise timing, and his turn was perfect. He did it, ARMY. Can you imagine RM's reaction at that moment? He almost couldn't believe it. He stared at his reflection in the mirror with sparkling eyes. And Jimin? He jumped for joy and hugged RM from the side, shaking the leader's body enthusiastically. "See, I told you that you could do it. You just needed to break it down and understand the logic. Once you understand, your body will remember." What makes it touching is Jimin's joy was so genuine, guys. As if he himself had just mastered the difficult move. That's what always makes ARMYs amazed by BTS's chemistry. They can celebrate each other's success as if that success was their own. No ego, no unhealthy competition, just a solid support system. They then repeated the complete choreography from beginning to end, and RM did it smoothly. No more parts that stuttered, no more hesitant movements. His energy changed completely, from looking tired and frustrated. Now his eyes sparkled full of spirit. When the music stopped, RM bowed deeply to Jimin, a sincere gesture of gratitude. Thank you, Jimin. Seriously. Without you, I probably would have given up earlier. And guys, Jimin's answer made us all cry. He said Hyung would never really give up. I know that. I just helped speed up the process. Besides, that's what we have each other for, right? When one person is about to fall, the other is there to catch them. How many times has Hyung done that for me? When I was down because of criticism about my vocals, when I was insecure about my position in the group, when I felt I wasn't good enough, Hyung was always there. ARMY, this is the true essence of BTS. They're not just a talented and successful boy band. They're a genuine brotherhood, a family that supports each other in the toughest times. Jimin reminded us that in BTS's long journey, they've all experienced difficult times. The difference is, they were never alone in facing them. There were always 6 other people ready to give support. That night, after they packed up their things and left the empty practice room, RM felt new energy. The frustration had been replaced with determination and confidence. In the car on the way home, RM sent a message to the BTS group chat. He said, "Today's practice was hard, but I learned a lot. Thank you to all of you, especially Jimin, who was willing to stay up late accompanying this stupid Hyung. 2026 will be our best year. Sarangi." And it didn't take long. Replies started coming from other members even though it was late at night. Heart emojis, words of encouragement, and their typical jokes and laughter filled the screen. Jimin, sitting next to RM, just smiled, didn't say anything, but his eyes sparkled with happiness. So ARMY, what can we learn from this moment? First, struggling is normal. Even a leader as strong as RM has moments where he feels he's not good enough. And that's okay. What's important is that we don't stop trying. Second, having a support system is crucial. Jimin could be RM's savior that night not because he just gave encouragement, but because he actively helped in a concrete way. He didn't just say you can do it, but he showed the way. He broke down the problem. He practiced together until success. Third, celebrate other people's success. Just look at how happy Jimin was when RM succeeded. No jealousy or feeling superior. Just genuine happiness for his friend's success. And lastly, remember your journey. Jimin reminded RM about past struggles he had overcome. That made RM realize he had been in similar situations before and always managed to get through them. This moment is also a reminder for all of us that behind BTS's perfect performances on stage, there are thousands of hours of practice, sweat, tears, and moments of almost giving up that they went through. And what keeps them moving forward is because they have each other. This is why BTS is different from other boy bands. Their chemistry isn't manufactured for the camera, but a genuine bond formed from years of struggling together. So ARMY, next time you see BTS perform perfectly on stage, you have to remember moments like this. Remember that behind every perfect movement, there's struggle, there's a support system, there's a solid brotherhood. And that's what makes us even more proud to be ARMY. Okay ARMY, that's it for today's video. If you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And comment below which moment from Jimin and RM touched you the most. Or do you have a similar story about supportive friendship? Share in the comment section. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss the latest BTS content from our channel. See you in the next video, ARMY. Borahi.